I think we are streaming, and I think we are good. Probably, from the looks of things. All right. Hello, everyone. This is Chris Ingerson, and it is August 1st. Man, the year's just zooming by. And this is the August 1st TextQuest Devstream. So today, we are going to be tackling hints. So, the past week, we've been messing with things like environmental descriptions, um, and essentially, environment descriptions are very similar to hints in the sense that both are systems where you can stop what you're doing, type a specific phrase, and then get a specific output based on your progression. But the difference is that hints are less about describing your environment and more about trying to guide you to what your next actions should be. And that makes it a little bit more difficult because I don't want the hint system to just be a get out of jail free, you don't have to think about it system. In that respect, I kind of think that a system similar to what some of the old Sierra games had will actually work pretty well. Specifically, actually, I am thinking of a system similar to Phantasmagoria. And I'm sure Sierra had it in a couple of other games, but that's the one that I played most recently that I can think of. Uh, and in Phantasmagoria, you had a little skull that you could click, and he would talk and say random hints based on your current situation. And of course, it wasn't just direct answers. It wasn't go here and do this. And hold on. Of course, it wasn't just sorry, just making sure that I'm actually still talking and that my mic isn't muted. Uh, so it wasn't a direct sort of guideline of saying this is what you should do. It was more of a suggestion saying something. Let's see, what were some of the phrases that it said? Someone on this island has seen or someone has seen everything on this island, and that is vague, but gives you a hint that you need to talk to someone. And that's kind of the level of hint that I want. I don't want something that makes the game unsatisfying, because then that will just ruin it for you. So it needs to be a hint, not an answer. It's not just a walkthrough. Go here, do this. It's a hint. Um, and I have started working on sort of a hint document. It's similar to the environmental description or environment description document, mostly because, again, their systems are very similar to one another. But I have somewhat more of a difficult time actually getting hints to fit, or rather to make sense to me. And also, I'm having, admittedly, some difficulty coming up with a system to actually display hints, because hints are universal. They're not really locked to a single zone like environmental description is, and they're not even really isolated to a specific level. If you ask for a hint in the castle, and the thing you have to do is in the sewer, it probably should still point you in the right direction. The hint should be the same no matter where you are, where you ask for it. All that matters is where you are progression-wise, not your physical location. So it kind of becomes tricky to evaluate these things. Um, I was thinking maybe of doing some kind of priority system, but it doesn't quite seem like a good fit. My main concern is I was hoping to get this hint system done tonight, and I think we can do that, but I don't know if we can do it in a way that is um, not something that I'm going to have to redo at some point. So the fastest way we could interact or we could implement the system just to make it functional would be to have individual hints per level, and then just sort of iterate through them. So whatever hint evaluates to be true last will be the correct hint that is expected, and that'll be the hint that's returned. But we have there that works for now. But the problem is with that approach, I know I will have to refactor it for later, and I would prefer not to put in that much effort if I'm going to redo it again anyway. So I would like to try and tackle this in a way that will be universal, a way that I can actually extend in the future instead of rewrite in the future. Um, so it's kind of gonna be weird, uh, mostly because I have to basically come up with a way um, that determines the correct hint to return. So for now, to show you the example that I'm talking about, if you've seen the previous work we've done on our environment descriptions, you'll know that we have these criteria per description. In this case, it's a criteria per hint, and then there's information on what that criteria is and how it's evaluated and all that. That's all pretty much the same. But to give you a sort of walkthrough, these are the hints that you would receive in text quest in the first level for about the first half of the level. So the first thing you would see if you typed hint as soon as you got in is actually going to be a message saying this is the hint master and blah 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 blah. Try not to use too many hints because it won't make the game fun. And then the second time you hit enter or you enter a hint, it's going to tell you this. Assuming that you have not made any progress whatsoever, you're just standing at your starting position in the game. It'll just say the King of Seraphin awaits you. Very simple. Doesn't tell you exactly what to do, but it implies that you should move forward. Now, once you've entered the throne room and the wizard cutscene has activated, but the wizard cutscene hasn't finished, it's going to tell you this incredibly cheesy line about the events of the world are unfolding before you. Observe them, for you never know if they may be useful. Actually, I might change that to observe them, for you never know what you might see. What you might see. I was working on this like right before the Devstream, so not super happy with these. But anyway, and then of course after that wizard cutscene completes, then the wizard vanished will be set to true, and now you have entered the throne room. You have had the wizard appear, and the wizard has vanished. So that means that the hint would be magic blocks the way back. You must open the path forward, or it's curtains for your adventure. Now that is meant to be a quote unquote subtle hint that you're supposed to do something with curtains. And I was trying to think of how to guide you to the bedroom, but I think a more general curtains thing will be fine. And we can do contextual highlighting too, I suppose. That is certainly an option if I feel